morning. Pleasure to be here. Thank you all for coming. So the idea here is actually we will present to you a little bit about the culture transformation, actually the business transformation that we have been doing at Embraer since the pandemic, but with the focus on the finance team, okay? So I hope it's useful. The title here is actually Building a High-Impact FP&A. I will use the term FP&A and controllership both together, because that's why we see the function, okay? So first, to start, I will explain a little bit about the company, Embraer. Some of you may not know about the company. So we have actually 5 business units. The first one is commercial aviation. So we are leaders in jets up to 150 seats, especially, for example, here in the US. The backbone of regional aviation here in the US is with our aircraft. We have a second business unit, executive aviation, so private jets, business jets, and we are the leaders in the light, medium, and super mid-size segment. So there is one segment in the executive aviation that we play, and we are the leaders in the business. We have also a third business unit, defense and security, and our main product is the one that you are seeing here. We call it C390. It's a military transportation aircraft that you can configure to firefighting, troops, tanks, and so on. And for sure, to make sure that all aircrafts keep flying and our customer keep happy, right? We have the fourth business unit, which is service and support. And we have also Eve. Eve is a pre-operational company. It's actually a listed company in New York. And they are developing, we call it electrical vertical takeoff and landing. Some people will see flying cars, but it's actually electrical vertical takeoff and landing. So Eve is a new business unit that it was a spec that we did, and now is listed in New York, okay? Just to have you an idea of the size of the company, our revenue last year, 7.6. We have around 25,000 employees. We are investment grades, and we have global operations for sure to make sure that the aircraft are flying all over the world, okay? Right, a little bit about me, because it's important for you to understand the rest of the presentation. And actually, my background is not from finance. My background is actually, I joined the company in the engineering team, so my background is engineering, and I actually moved from different positions, program manager, project manager, contract manager, and prior to my role as a CFO in Executive Jets, I was the strategy director, so I was the head of corporate strategy, okay? So most of the concepts that I will share with you, they are more like soft concepts in terms of finance. They are more related to strategy and culture, okay? And so today, I'm the CFO of Embraer Executive Jets, so one of the business units, but I also have a role in their holding company. So at the holding level, I'm the controller, right, the corporate controller, so I'm the head of controllership and FP&A, okay? All right. So to start, the transformation that we have been doing started in 2020. 2020 was a very tough year, for sure to all of us, but especially for us at Embraer, it was very, very tough. We had the pandemic, right? Aeronautics, aerospace, industry, defense were the first one to be affected by the pandemic, but also we had one additional challenge. Our first business unit, commercial aviation, was about to be, we had an M&A deal with Boeing, so it was about to conclude. We have done a carve-out system, carve out everything of the company, but then because of everything what happened in the world and at Boeing, they decided to walk away on the deal. So we have a deal, we have a strategy and so on, but then pandemic plus a huge M&A deal that did not materialize. So you can imagine, now focus on the finance team, you can imagine how was the team morale, right? So people that have been working for 20 years together, then we have to split. Now you go to company A, you go to company B. No, just kidding. You will stay together, right? So very tough, difficult situation also in retention. And also we have the homework, right? It became like a rule. So our turnover was very, very high. So from one hand, we have a difficult financial position, difficult future position because of our strategy was linked with the deal. And also, we have difficulties in retention because people are not believing in the company. They are receiving other offers to work from home and so on. Very tough environment. But then, during 2020, and I was still the head of strategy. I was not in the finance team. We have two main goals in 2020. First is to survive. So we create a crisis management team, all executives, twice a day, managing all outflows. You can imagine we were producing 100 aircraft, and then all of a sudden 40. Inventory very high, no PDPs, no advance payments from customers. Everything was stopped, right? So first, focus to survive. The second one was to create a strategic plan moving forward, because our strategy has to change due to the factors, right? But in the end of the 2020, we survived, so the crisis, pandemic was still there, but was more manageable, right? To have more control of the things. And we also we submit to the board in December and approve a new strategic plan. Very simple, I will share some highlights here. Then, it was clear to us that we need to change not only the financials of the company, but also the financial team, how the team is behaving, and how the team is contributing to the execution of the strategy. So the board knew that, and then we decided to do some changes. One of the changes that I left this, after we approved the strategic plan, I left the strategy team and joined as a head of the controllership and FP&A of the company, okay? And the idea was simple, make it the finance team more strategic, right? All right, so I will share some thoughts, and I hope you guys can use some of the information in our day-to-day activities. So I was new in the position as a head of finance, right? I started reading a lot about what would be a world-class controllership, and I saw that you just have a speech about that, right? Very in line with what I'm going to say to you guys. One of the best articles that I read was this one from Deloitte, Stepping Outside the Box, Elevating the Role of the Controller. There are actually 2 articles inside, and I will share with you 3 main takeaways that I use from this article, and it has helped me a lot, okay? So the first thing was a very simple and obvious question. The question is that if the CFO and the business is requiring that the finance team play a more active role in shaping and executing strategic priorities. I was from the business side, I was from the strategy team. For me, it was obvious, yes, right? But although obvious, the answer, the survey is quite striking, right? 92% said yes. It's also striking that 9% do not know, right? But 92% said, for sure, I want that the finance team play a more active role in executing in shaping and executing strategic priorities. And if you ask the team, and we did that, the team, what do you think about your purpose here? What do you want for your career? How do you want to grow? They will say work-life balance. They will say a lot of things. But one thing that they will definitely say is that they want to participate in more high-level discussions, analysis, decision-making, and they do not want to do only operational stuff, right? So from one hand, the company wants the finance team to do that. From the other hand, the employees want the same. So what was missing, right? The second question, although again from the article, right, is that if the controller have a clear, defined, and communicated vision about the future direction of the function. So if he has a vision, right? And it basically says that 75% do not have a vision. So they took like a lot of controllers, they do a survey, and 75% of the controllers did not have, and FP&A did not have a vision for the function, right? And some of them, you see 14%, they actually has a vision, but it's not communicated. It's a PowerPoint, someone did that, then hide it, nobody knew what is actually the vision. And if you are leading a team that does not have a vision, you can feel on their eyes, you can feel on their day-to-day activities, they are not engaged, they don't know to where are they going, right? They know the direction. So they are just doing day-to-day activities without being inspired to make some change, to make some transformation. For sure, a company has a vision, right? And sometimes it's easier, for example, for the engineering. In our case, aircraft, it's easier to say, we have to build the best aircraft, right, okay. But the finance team, sometimes they will feel out of the vision. So it's important that the area has its own vision, so how they should behave, okay? So first thing that I learned, and I truly believe that from my previous experience, that we should have a vision. And the third fact on the article is that they did an analysis on time allocations, okay? And they come up with these four archetypes of controllership and FP&A. On the bottom, you see the operator and steward. So operator is the guy that actually doing the process monthly basis, doing the work without question, without too much analysis. The steward, he's doing a report, a discussion with the auditors, taking care of the assets, okay. But the upper part, you see two additional archetypes. The first is the strategist. The strategist is the one that actually helps in the decision making. Analysis, discussions, helping the company take a better decision. And the catalyst is the one that is leading the implementation of transformative projects, okay? So, and they, when they analyze how the companies are allocating their times, they said that 70% was in the bottom, 70. And the idea would be 25% each, right? When I look at my team at the time, I was actually 70%, is maybe is optimistic. Maybe it's 80%, 85%. They are doing operational stuff without making an impact on the strategy and the execution. And again, one of the main requests of the team is that they should move from the upper part to the bottom part. And it's important to mention that's not only the head of the team, the leaders, the managers. I believe that everyone should allocate their time in all activities. For sure, if the analyst is a junior analyst, he will spend more time on the bottom part, but he has to move to a different activities, okay? So, okay, with this, let's say, background, what I decided to do, okay, now let's create a vision. If you ask the team, my team at the time, what do you think you are doing here, the purpose of your job, your role, or your career here, what would you say? They would say, I have to make sure that the books are right, I have to make sure that the numbers are correct, I have to make sure that the forecast is accurate. I said, no, this is not the purpose. This is the basic. You have to do that, but this is the basic. We are here to make a much more meaningful impact, right? So a lot of discussions, we came up with this vision to our team, act as a co-pilot that drives profitability and growth, and it was before Microsoft steal our thunder in the co-pilot name, okay? But I just want to highlight two things here, profitability and growth. The team was focused on what they should do, the activities that they should do on a day-to-day activities. No, you are here to make the company grow, bottom line, top line. That's your goal. It's not to make a report. Report is something that we need to do, but it's not your goal. And the other word here is the co-pilot. okay, we are from aerospace, and you come up with a vision, co-pilot, right? Very smart, right? But I really believe that the CFO is the co-pilot of the company. And I believe that the finance team is the co-pilot of the company. Sometimes, it's easy to think of the CFO as the co-pilot, but it's not easy to think as the analyst as the co-pilot. And I really try to reinforce my team. Guy, if you are managing the inventory, you are the co-pilot of the inventory project. You are not only reporting, you are here to make the difference in the inventory turn and so on. And this word co-pilot is very important for us because it's actually states very clear the behavior that we want the team to have. I don't know if you read there is a book, right, Outlier, from Malcolm Gladwell. And in one of the chapters, he actually explains some aviation accidents that happened in South Korea in the 90s. And when they analyzed the root cause was that the co-pilot did not speak out. He saw something wrong, but because of hierarchy, right, he decided to stay quiet. And there was an accident. So guys, I told my team, don't be a South Korean co-pilot from the 90s. Now they fix it, right? Don't be. You are here to speak out. That's the behavior I want you to have. You need to understand the co-pilot knows how to pilot, right? He does not only knows, this is the report, we have to fulfill this form. No, he knows how to pilot. So you have to know what you are doing in terms of business. And in addition, you should speak out when you see something that you do not agree and when you see something that you should contribute more. This is the basic. And my team knows that if they want to move up in the ranks, the positions in the company, they should act like a co-pilot. There is no doubt on it. If you act like a co-pilot, okay, you have a path forward. If you do not act, man, you get stuck. That's the game. After the vision, we also try to make sure that the customer and the business is the focus, not the process. Sometimes the team is process before business, and guys, business, customers before process. One example, we had a great process, a very complex process. Someone, in the beginning of the month, they would do a report, like 25 pages. They would submit to the board. Nobody read. Never. But there was someone that spent 1 week doing the report. The process was great. Everything was green. Deadlines, quality, useful, not useful. So we took out, instead of 25 pages, just one. Now they read. Now they are reading, and we are discussing. So customer and business focus first. So what we use to define the strategy. So we have the vision, but what we use to define the strategy. We use the strategy maps. It's from Kaplan and Norton. They are the same authors of the balance scorecard. But I'll be very honest, our concept of strategy map, it's much more simple. If you read the book, it's a lot of complex things. At the company, in the past, we used to have a strategic plan, 30 pages. It was in the drawer of someone. Nobody reads. And it was difficult to understand the strategy, 30 pages, right? So we decided to use the maps because it's easy to communicate. And also we believe that it's powerful to make the team aligned, okay? So what is the strategy map? I will not, because of the time, I will not go through all items here. But feel free to ask me later on, and I can explain a little bit better. But in one page, and this is the strategy that we defined for the FP&A and controllership, okay? It's not our rocket science. First, in the upper part, there is a vision. Then we go with the financial targets, is the company financial targets. Our company has a strategy map like that. So financial targets is the same as the company. Then in light blue, you see how we believe that the finance team can contribute to the growth of the company. You see, managing COGS, expense control, steering investment, deciding on investments and cash decision. We had a huge problem with working capital because of the COVID, optimizing working capital. And for example, during this period, we launched Eve, a spec, so making sure that we have a proper partnership and make sure that we are able to do that. So that's how we believe that we will help the company grow. In the orange, you see how we believe we want the customer to perceive our work, internal customers, okay? And it's simple. We believe that if we do the basics with an extraordinary way, we will succeed. So, right data, right time. In the beginning, when I joined meetings, people would debate about the data. I don't agree with the data. This data is not correct. No. Right data, right time. Clear transparency. Sometimes we are in a meeting, the finance team is explaining, but nobody will understand, right? So clear transparency. Our customers should understand what we are talking about. And an engaged business partner, not only reporting, but engagement. And the yellow part are actually the projects that we execute. So we review our financial planning, strategic plan and AP, the way we do forecast and analysis, our costing, closing, governance, and so on. I will talk a little bit later on about 2 projects here, but then they are the projects. And then in the basics, all the company has the same basics. What will sustain our growth? People, integrity, safety, and a lean philosophy. We are a manufacturing company, so we use a lot about lean tools, okay? All right, so my team know this map by heart. Every meeting that I have with all of them, at least 5 minutes, we will explain it, okay? And they know that this is what we want for the company. But okay, once we have a map, we have a slide, right? How can we execute this strategy that we discussed with the team? The first thing, address complexity with simplicity, very aligned with what Carla just said. We use a 3 lean philosophy, Toyota concept, right? 1 page for the project, 1 page for the status, very easy, but recurring follow-up on those projects that you just saw. The second, every time that we have something that we believe that is important and is critical, we establish what we call a crisis management team. So for example, cash, just after COVID, cash was critical for us. Crisis management team for cash, twice a day. What we can do to improve, very straightforward discussions. Sometimes we establish a crisis management team and then we delegate to another area. For example, aeronautics, they were with a lot of problems receiving parts to produce aircraft, right? So we have a crisis management team for production. We started that with the CEO of the company. Now they are taking care of it. We have also, we believe that the engagement of the CEO of the company is very important, so quarterly meetings with the presence of the CEO. So the team see that it's important what they're doing. And one of the first things that we did an executive training in finance to all L1, L2, L3 levels of the company. So they know better about the finance and take better decisions. And for sure, it's difficult to keep the energy with the team if you are not showing short-term results. So we choose some projects as lighthouse so we can deliver and they say, okay, I see that we are transforming. It's an initial thing, but we can see that things are moving in the right direction. So very simple, discipline and energy to execute the strategy that you just saw. But one of the main difficulties was actually to change the culture, right? So the question was, what can we do to change the culture of the team that was a passive team, operational team, and the low morale, etc. So I brought here 5 pillars that we use at the company. The first thing is constant communication. As I mentioned, every meeting, if my whole team is together, every meeting I would start with the strategy and the vision, every time. The second, onboarding. Everyone that is hired or moved to our team, they will listen about the strategy from me, not from everyone else. I will explain. And even sometimes during interview, I will show the strategy to see if their eyes, shine. So if there are shine, okay, this is a good hire that I will hire to my team. This is very important. You see here the guy is using a shirt, safety first and quality always. This is a line that the company that we use everywhere. So we are here, there is no safety concerns. We would start the meeting talking about where are the executives and so on, just to have everyone with the mindset that safety and quality are important. Same things we are doing for the finance team. Events and feedbacks. We created the coffee shop talkings. So the idea was, you saw the orange part on the strategy map, how we want the customer to perceive us. So we discussed with the team, okay, if your peers from other areas, they are having a coffee and decide to talk about our work, what would they say? That's the discussions that we have. And every time that we have a feedback, either personal feedback or someone send a message to me about someone else, I would make sure that the next meeting with the team, we will state the feedback, especially if it's aligned with the strategy. So the team say, okay, we are moving. Okay, things are happening. We create some symbols, and for example, we used to joke, I believe that formal presentations, formal discussions are important, but the informal are much more important. So we create this, and I don't even know how it was created, but between us, we have the saying, let's crush it, right? And my team now, they send, every time that they do something that it's like a good result, I'm crushing it, I'm crushing it. That's the energy that we want from our team, that they see that not only the company is changing, the area is changing, but they are contributing. So that's informal jokes, let's say, although they are not formal, they are very, very important to create the unity and energy. There are some, on this responsible empowerment, we took some special activities and we decided now you send the report straight to the CEO. I will not approve, right? I approve the first, the second, then okay, you will not approve. Why this is important? Now someone, analyst, junior analyst, is sending a report to the CEO and the CEO is replying. So no, he read my report, right? So they keep engaging. So for sure, has to be very responsible, but we are doing. And for sure, mandatory adjustments, not everyone fits in the vision that we are. Sometimes we have to make changes, right? But this was, I would say that simple, but powerful. Today, I believe that our team has a behavior much more aligned with being a co-pilot than before. So talking about the projects, I have 6 minutes here. Talking about the projects. I brought here 5, but I will highlight 2, and then I'll discuss a little bit about the digital. How can we be a co-pilot on a day-to-day activities? So the first one, performance controlling. Performance controlling was one of the boxes in our strategy map. The idea, we should have metrics and KPIs to everyone in the company. To the contract team, to the procurement team, to the labor is easier, direct labor, but labor, everyone. And we did a very significant right sizing during the pandemic. We don't want to grow without taking control of the headcount. So now, everyone in the company that needs a headcount, before requesting the headcount, they should come to us and they should explain their efficiencies. And we are the one that know the KPIs. We establish the KPIs. So after we said, okay, I understand that you did everything, that we are gaining efficiency, you are good to go to request this headcount. Then there is a circle with a CEO of the company and the CFO to decide if they will have this headcount or not. So we are being the co-pilot of the CEO and the HR to make sure that the company is taking the right decision in adding headcounts. Nobody loves the process, right? It's a tough process. But we are 100% sure that this process had made our profitability increase it a lot because we grew revenue twice, we doubled the revenue, and we add like 10% headcount. In finance team, we did not add any headcount since the pandemic. Okay? So first, being co-pilot on practice. The second one, COGS, so cost on an aircraft, right? Very complex. Engineering, program team, supply chain, they all work together. But we are the leaders of the cost reduction projects, the controllership. There's not only reporting, not only doing the deviation analysis. Their target is to reduce the cost, okay? That's being the co-pilot of the profitability of the company. Steering investment, portfolio management. We call it investment forum. We divided the investment in buckets, very simple. Mandatory investments, maintenance investment and mandatory investments. So we basically analyze, is it really needed? And we make the questions. Is it really needed? Why? Show me the law, show me the legislation, show me the maintenance requirements. Okay. Second one, efficiency. Show me the ROI. Third one, growth. Show me the top line growth and the ROI. And the fourth one, innovation. Then it's more like being prepared for the future, right? But having decided those type of buckets, we decide the criteria for each one. And we decide, together with the CFO, CEO of the group, which investments are being approved. And they compete. It's a competition. There is a threshold, very low, but above the threshold, competition, and we manage the decision, okay? Not only, I mean, I discussed about being a co-pilot. We are not doing that by ourselves. For example, for the investment portfolio, we work side by side with the strategy team, right? Performance controlling, HR team. But the idea is to be a co-pilot. And then I will discuss a little bit about the digital transformation later on. Commercial, just one point here, on commercial engagement, I was very surprised in the beginning when my team entered in discussions about commercial discussions, price, contracts, and they did not speak out. So why? You are the co-pilot. You have a different opinion. You have to say it. If you do not say it, man, you are not in compliance with our vision. You are not being a co-pilot, okay? So last part here is how we implement, we are implementing the digital and AI strategy. Again, buckets. We decided to invest in 3 different buckets. The first one is execute company's strategy. For example, everyone tell about agent now. I want to do an agent. I want to do an agent as well, right? But how can I start? Is what is most important for the company. That's has to be linked with the company strategy and our strategy, okay? The second one, internal efficiency. Okay, so let's remove hours for being an operator and a steward, and let's allocate hours and being a strategist and a catalyst. And the last one, for sure, there is some enablers that we need to do in order to help the company implement those strategies. So for the first, very simple, complexity and corporate impact. We will do what has the highest impact, for sure. Even if it's difficult or not, that's what we are going to do. For example, for us, it's very important managing inventory. Revenue forecast for us is not a big problem, right? Number of aircraft, I know. The price, I know. But managing the inventory, thousands of parts in one aircraft, then it's important. So, for example, the agents that we are starting to implement is to inventory manage. And the idea that I gave to the team was, if I have a very good analyst, I want him to show me every day the purchase orders that are being created, and if the coverage of the stocks, if it makes sense or not having the purchase order issued today. So that's, and then same rationale for the internal efficiency. We do not use PowerPoints anymore. We are using SAC Analytics, right? SAP Analytics Cloud. Everything is in the cloud. So tons of hours, prepare reports, changing reports we took out so the analyst can focus on actually executing. And for the enablers, especially the SAC, we are using a lot, okay? The SAC And it has been very helpful for us. For sure, we have to work with the IT to improve our data through data lakes, but that's, and the digital culture, what I tell my team is that if you want to move up, and if you want to be promoted, guys, you have to know that. There is not an option. So they film up, and then we give the opportunity to them to develop. All right, my last slide is the results. I will not, for sure, the results. This is our share price since 2023, 600%. For sure, it's not because of only because of the finance team, but the transformation that I'm showing you here, the CEO of the company implementing the strategy team, for the strategy of the company, you are implementing in the procurement team, you are implementing in the production team, and the finance team is one of them. And since 2020, we never miss guidance. We never miss financial guidance, which is also a good indicator that our forecast is being more accurate. So revenue twice, profitability 6 times. We don't have turnover in FP&A today, very, very low. I think in the last 2 years, we do not lose one person. Actually, people that left, sometimes they want to come back. And the customer feedback is very aligned with our strategy. I know that I'm out of time, I'm sorry. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.